Right back.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. Hi, I am one part of the Cinema 9 podcast. I am joined by Angela, wife of co-host Eric. Angela, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Travis?
I'm doing pretty well. We've had all kinds of issues today, technologically speaking, and also in terms of scheduling and time. I was pretty late getting here. Had a big day. It was like my students' like graduation ceremony, so that was cool. But it got me in a little late. And then Mike's computer took a shit on him, and Eric has disappeared right before we were about to go live. I'm like, we have to go live, or else we lose like the stream or whatever. So we went ahead and jumped right in. So,
Yeah.
Ange, you're a podcast host now.
Sounds good. Eric will be back, I'm sure. He's up there.
There
he is.
Eric, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good evening.
How are things in Griffith Park, Indiana?
Dude, I'm super anxious even when things are working perfectly. So you can imagine I'm feeling a little bit hectic right now.
Yeah, ordinarily this is like a hobby that we do for fun, but sometimes it can be like weirdly stressful when there's mass technological failure all at once. Except for me. For once, everything's working fine in my world, but I'll just cross my fingers on that one.
Right on.
The close talking was intense, Travis.
So we're sans mic at the moment, so you don't get your colorful, flavorful opening riffs from the great Mike Ovier. But luckily, hopefully he will be here shortly to discuss tonight's film, our feature spotlight film, A Life Less Ordinary, 1997 Danny Boyle film. But we're still going to come at you with the same quarantine viewing picks and all that shit you're used to.
Yeah, Eric, you have a pretty bad connection or something, and I think you're probably gonna be better off with the headphones than without them. So maybe drop out and come back. Sorry for yet more trouble, but you were very quiet and you sounded kind of like I don't know, C-3PO. So and we're really glad to have you back on the show. Last time you chose Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of bad because I said I didn't feel like it held up, but everybody else thought it held up.
That's okay. That's what opinions are for, man.
This is true. But we're really glad to have you back on. Have you been watching any movies besides A Life Less Ordinary?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, I watched a few.
You watched a few? That's good. Well, this is typically the part of the show where I would kick off our quarantine viewing picks and all the stuff that we've been watching, but we're obviously doing things a little differently today. So would you mind kicking us off and telling us, since you're the guest host and we're doing things differently, would you tell us what you've been watching?
Yes, it's probably it's so random. It's such a random collection.
That's good.
Of films. I mean, very random. Lots of different genres. Some are laughable. So, all right. My first one that I watched was a classic called Hello, Dolly with Barbara Streisand. I love Babs. I love her. So Funny Girl is one of my favorite all-time classics. So I'm like, all right, I'll give Hello, Dolly a chance. And it was surprisingly good. I thought it was going to be real lame. Like the costumes turned me off. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
This kind of this era of film is usually not my bag. But when you're watching Barbara, you can't go wrong, in my opinion. So, so that one,
right on,
was great. I watched Snow White, and I'm like anticipating the new Snow White. So I was like, let me look at the old cartoon again. And I mean, it's Snow White. I've seen it a million times. I love it. I was watching it with Fawn, and she got like super creeped out by some of the music. I was like, yeah, it's pretty scary. And then this one is probably the most interesting one that I watched that I never saw before, and it was like a thinker afterwards. I'm like, do I like it? Do I not? I don't know. It's called She's Gotta Have It by Spike Lee. Never seen it
Oh, boy.
before. I checked it out and I was like, it can't mean what it sounds like. I mean, it does. That's what it means. She's got to have it. She's got to have a lot of it. And
We're talking about
but-
coitus.
yes.
Oh, okay. Just wanted to be sure for the folks in the back.
But it was cool. It was like a really cool style. It was like close-ups, black and white, beautiful photography, and everybody's talking to the camera way before that was a thing. And it's just about this girl living in the city in her studio and all these guys that she has around her, and like how she meets them all and their relationship to each other. And I got bored about halfway through, but then by the end I was like, so Spike Lee did address like one of the guys tells her to go to a shrink because she's got to have it too much, so maybe she's an addict.
She's got hysteria.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like a female shrink, and the female shrink's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. That's just what the guy wants you to believe. So he addressed it. So after that, I was like, okay. So it's just an interesting tale.
What year did it come out? Do you remember? Did you catch that?
Somewhere in the early 80s, but I don't know for sure. But it's one of his early ones, and he's in it, and his sister's in it. So it's pretty cool.
All right.
Yeah, those are it.
All right, so that's what you watched?
Yeah. I fell asleep during a couple of them. We watched White Men Can't Jump. Eric will probably talk about it. I fell asleep. It was good, but I fell asleep.
That's true. We're doing it this time where two of the people have been watching the same movies, more or less, right? So
not
Eric,
those ones.
Not those
ones I mentioned. Yeah.
Okay. But you watched White Man Can't Jump together.
Yeah.
Eric, we're doing things differently. Why don't we jump with you going? Why don't you be a white man and jump? And we'll jump into your picks, and I'll go last. Maybe Govier will pop in.
Watch The Frighteners, the Peter Jackson film. It's been a long time since I checked in with the 1996 effort from the great Peter Jackson. It's a bonkers movie, dude. When's the last time you took a look at it?
Deliberately was holding off. It's on the short list.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it loses for me. It loses steam after like an hour of like this kind of interesting and like a Tales from the Crypt sort of way. Like that, like it just kind of derails for me into just this hectic, chaotic, incoherent trash. So I wasn't feeling it this time around, man. I remember liking it, but this time I was like, it's kind of a mess. So I don't know about The Frighteners. I teased that I watched a film by a legendary director that was so horrible I had to shut it off with like only a half hour to go. Curly Sue. So the great John Hughes, it was his last film, and I'd stayed away for the longest time. But I'm like, well, how bad can it be? Like, cute little girl, like she probably has to like thwart some like robbers. No, it's not that at all. She like her and her homeless father, played by Jim Belushi, scam their way through 2 hours of the most horrifically written, piss poorly directed shit I've ever. It was offensive to like homeless people. It was horrifically abominable. I hated it.
I remember
Isn't that Jesse Eisenberg's little sister?
Is it really?
I think so. It's like the Pepsi girl. Yeah.
I think it came out like at the same, like, when Hollywood does like the double movie thing, and like Steve Martin's A Simple Twist of Fate came out like right at the same time, I want to say. there's like, let's and I think that did we talk Three Fugitives on here? There was a big, after 3 Men and a Baby, there was a big run of like harrying up babies and children with men.
And of course, Little Lady.
I mean,
can't forget that one.
It was unreal. Like they devote like literally like 12 minutes to a sequence where Jim Belushi and Curly Sue like go to the movies and like thwart to steal a man's pop and popcorn, and it just goes on and on and on. And we're supposed to be like rooting for them. I was like, put this little shit to bed. I don't care if she's homeless. Yeah, Curly Sue sucked, man. The Big Chill. Me and Ange watched
we did watch The Big Chill.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. We weren't feeling it. I thought it was cringeworthy, dude. I don't think it holds up.
That's another one that was on my short list. I guess I can just start scratching these off.
Dude,
I know how you feel now.
I actually enjoyed it more than that. It's just such a baby boomer movie that it's like, oh boy, like, these songs, okay, these are my mom's songs for sure.
We're having this conversation. Hey, remember when we used to? I was like, oh, come on.
I believe there's
not
talk
my
of,
generation.
There's some
you
talk
guys
of
don't know
actor.
shit. You don't know shit.
There he is.
Big Chill.
There he is. Got the
Fucking don't know
computer.
shit. The big chill. I mean, I'm hearing some shit over here. I'm pissed about already. Papa's
Big
pissed.
deal.
Hey, I love the
Just
big
saying.
chill. This guy's coming. Kevin Kline in his little short shorts. Who doesn't love it?
Those are so short.
They were
They're
so
so
short.
short.
I'm so sorry, guys, about all
Dude,
the.
it's all good.
Hey, hey, you're here.
Yeah, you made
Cool.
it.
You're right. It's the past. The past is the past. But Curly
I
Sue,
know.
come on, she's cute.
Curly's, she's not. Oh, fuck that, man.
And White Man Can't Jump is a fucking
Loved it.
classic, an all-time
Yeah.
classic.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah.
said we
It's
said we
still
liked
very
that
good.
one. I just
No,
fell
you said
asleep.
you fell asleep, motherfucker.
That has nothing to do with anything besides being
Being
exhausted a lot.
New parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
All
it.
right.
It
well,
was
that's-
really good until I fell asleep.
Yeah, I just the ending. Like, I'd never seen a film since that like had the balls to just have the the leading lady just walk away from this asshole.
I hear a baby right now. That's fun.
That's
We
a
got
complication.
all the Brandstroms are hosting tonight.
Yeah.
Yay!
Eric's up there with fun, so he's gonna have to,
I'm
Wonderful.
really doing my
He'll be
best.
taking care of.
That's
Really
cool. She's
doing
a
my best.
she's a night owl, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, Inside. So
Oh, you watched it? Yeah.
Inside and like, man, I was kind of blown away. Like, I rolled my eyes a few times. I mean, like, there's only so much you can hear. I do be like comparing, like having
That's
to
not true at
stay
all,
at
actually.
home to like wanting to end his life. But dude, I was just so impressed with the output this dude put out just by himself. Like all the lights, just all the technical gadgetry he had to do by
Yeah.
himself. Like I've had to do that with my short films because I have no actors. But like this is infinitesimally exponential in the talent. So I applaud him. I loved it.
What movie?
Inside. Let's talk it for a moment since you watched it
Let's-
too, right, Mike?
Fucking A, right. I mean, I've been waiting to talk about it since I saw it on Saturday. So
Let's do it. What do you think? I mean, like I said to you guys on the text, like Mike, I figured that you would like it. I figured that you would like the comedy bits, that the dark bits you wouldn't be totally into the darker portions of the film, but that you would really dig the honesty and the mental health angle of it.
Mhm.
Eric, I figured you would either love it or find it really self-indulgent.
I
And-
did both of those, but like I
Yeah.
still ultimately loved it. Like, I'm sorry, but like White Woman's Instagram, hilarious sketch, but like making fun of the way other people do their art, I can't get behind that. But
Yeah,
no,
See, for me, it was like I like the darker half, like because once he turns 30, which is exactly dead center of the movie, like the dead fucking center.
a lot of spoilers
Yeah.
here, Angela. By the way,
That's okay. I'm just about to. Sorry, I'm anxious because I hear her cry. Oh, there she is.
she's right
Okay.
there.
All right.
But yeah, no, I
Sorry.
really I dug the vibe of that. Pretty like it's like a comedy, like the only comedy movie I ever or like comedy special I ever cried at. So that's something.
yeah,
I talked about Stop Making Sense a few weeks ago. I think this, as far as performance art goes and performance-based films, this can stand beside it easily, especially for a 21st century performance film.
Wow, Mike, what'd you think?
Well, Travis was right. So this is just so funny, and I hadn't had an experience like this in ever. Sometimes I was sitting here in this exact seat and looking up at this TV right here on Saturday, and I was just mesmerized, and I was laughing. I was, ha ha! All by myself. Nobody was here inside the house, and I just had no idea what to expect. I didn't do this is classic me. If you know me about movies, I don't. Eric is the opposite. We all know he digs through every fucking script and every possible scenario that could happen with the movie before it comes out, and that's fine. That's cool. It's your thing. I like to go in dry, and even though you talked about it on the show, you didn't really tell me, or at least I ignored it.
I didn't say
hear-
much.
Yeah.
didn't say much.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that because this is performance art. It's a stand-up special, but it's a movie kind of. It's a documentary. It's almost like, and this is hard to do, really hard to do in these days. It's almost its own thing completely, and that's big ground, man. That's. I'm not a Bo Burnham fan. I mean,
Me
eighth
neither.
grade was
I didn't think
right. That's what you said
in
too, right?
particular. I didn't dislike him.
Yeah, eighth grade was a tough watch. It was well done, though. I'll give him credit for that. Tough watch. And his shit on YouTube. Apparently, he's been on YouTube since 2006. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
But this is a guy who's catapulted to the point that he is in his life just based solely on his talent. You know, he got a huge YouTube following by making these funny little songs and being honest with his comedy, and it never really did it for me when it was on YouTube because it's fucking YouTube, and you know, I've told you guys how I feel about YouTube generally. Yeah, I'm glad you guys both liked it. We don't need to derail the show any further, I guess, unless you guys.
No, wait. I want to say a couple more things. I have.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not my turn. I mean, I can wait till my turn to talk.
Well, I mean, we're on the subject now. Eric, you can pick up where we.
The show's all fucked up here. It's all different today.
Yeah, we're doing things differently today.
It's just you don't get that kind of comedic vibe and routine and effort from nowhere. So everything he did prior has got me really curious about actually digging back into all the stuff he's done before, because there's got to be a few more laughs at minimum. Oh yeah. I mean, the commentary. This is being turned into like the leftist comic guy too. A lot of people are turning this into a political. Yeah. Look,
he makes some pretty political. He makes some very political statements. Like he said at one point, he says all private property is theft, which is pretty fucking left. That's like, I'm like, whoa, Stalin. Like,
well, that's the thing. I was talking to Luke about it, friend of the show, Luke Horvath. Luke loves to put a leftist slant on everything, but not your like easy going middle of the road leftist. You're a hard leftist, and he loved it. Luke even loved it. He's like, I fucking loved this movie. It was incredible, and he laughed his ass off. All these people who wanted to be leftists, though, he's just making social comments, things about people's existence. I don't. This is the last thing I'll say. It's never about politics. We're talking about humanity and social change, which doesn't have to be political movements, legislative movements at all. It's about how we work with one another, behavioral stuff.
It's definitely not partisan. Like he's not talking about he's not like pro-Democrat, right? Like he's like anything political that's happened. Like you're right. It's more of a humanitarian kind of angle that he's talking from. Yeah. So Eric, go ahead and pick it off. But I will say, fucking Bo Burnham's Inside. After our last show last week, I poured myself many beers and had myself a nice little dance party to the soundtrack, which is not a thing I usually do.
Did you put on a ghillie suit and sing the Jeff Bezos song?
That is my favorite song, actually. That moment is my favorite. That is my favorite moment. Never did I think I would just walk around in like my life just singing the name of the richest man in the world over and over again. But I've been doing it.
I'm not even kidding when I'm saying this. I've walked around the house and many times I've just been yelling out Jeff Bezos. I haven't sung it, but I love to just walk around the house and say dumb stuff like that. So it was so up my alley.
Congratulations!
And that sock puppet is stuck between somewhere not dead, not alive. I mean,
it's so good.
God,
so good. All right. So obviously we love Bo Burnham's Inside. You all should check it out.
Currently in theaters, but available on VOD, The Birthday Cake. This cast is insane. Val Kilmer, Lorraine Bracco, Ewan McGregor. Who am I missing? It's like kind of like a soft mob film about a young guy. Like he's delivering this present to his uncle, who's in the Italian mafia in New York, and it's definitely more of a character piece instead of this epic scope mob movie. But I dug it.
I really liked it. The lead actor was amazing. He carried the whole thing. He's somebody I have never heard of before. I think he's been in a couple TV shows, but he's really good. And Val Kilmer showed up, and he's got his neck piece, and he's like the mob boss. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, the dude like can't talk, can't do anything, but he's really good in it.
He's really good.
I had to give it up for him. I like the picture. I hope it gets a little bit more fanfare out there. You know, I talked about the McPherson tape. Did you get a chance to see it on Shudder, Travis?
No, I haven't watched it. I read your review on it.
Yeah, some of the best found footage I've seen since Blair Witch.
Yeah, guys, we do have an Instagram account. Please follow us at Cinema9 on Instagram. We put up reviews. Eric put up 2 reviews yesterday, and other things. Wow. So check that out. I'll have to look into that.
Loved it. I also dug Censor, the new horror drama that's getting a ton of buzz. I like the film a lot. It's on VOD too, if you don't want to catch it in theaters currently. So that's about it from me.
All right. Mike, you want to go next or you want me to go next?
I'll go next. Is it my
Go
turn?
for it. Yeah. Well,
You're
I
the
mean,
boss today,
I didn't,
man.
right. I didn't go first, so you go ahead and go.
Well,
And I'll wrap
now,
things
dog.
up. We'll do things backwards today.
I am sorry, Massa. You be the boss man now. That's from Glory, by the way. A white man says that. I don't know if that's racist, but he's trying to reenact a black man's slave. It's fucking weird.
I don't know.
Now that
I
see
wouldn't
it
walk
now-
around wouldn't walk around repeating it like on a
Yeah.
podcast.
It was
bothers me.
always weird. It was always weird to me. I was like, why is this happening?
Yeah, I agree. Carrie Elways. By the way, I watched a movie with Carrie Elways in it, and I watched a movie with Val Kilmer in it this week. Inside was funny, and Inside is hilarious. But really, right next to it, I mean, I had a lot of laughs this last 7 days. That's why I got this big, stupid grin on my face. It was so funny. MacGruber is so funny. It is a hilarious romp. Oh my god! This yes, the movie, yes, the movie with Will Forte. Will Forte is
I've never
hilarious.
seen it.
I like Will Forte.
I can't weigh in.
I really want to strongly recommend. I mean, it's a farce. It's a farce on shoot 'em ups and the 80s action hero. It's obviously MacGyver. MacGruber was a ripoff of that. Ryan Felipe plays the straight man, and Powers Booth is a straight man. He's like the general in the Rambo series to Will Forte. And of course, Kristen Wiig's his other sidekick. It's a great cast. It's so funny. I texted Steve Guile, a friend of the show, that this is something we should be quoting regularly. And he's like, dude, it sounds like a feast watch. And I'm like, yes, this is absolutely should be top of the list feast watch, just as like, because we usually watch ridiculous, stupid movies at the feast. It's just a running thing. Roadhouse.
People that don't know us, once a year we get together at this event. We call it a feast. We get shit-faced for 3 days and watch dumb movies or great movies, but but like weird movies. So that sounds like a good one.
Yeah, we've changed. It seems like we've just watched stupid movies these days.
We just watched Mandy and RoboCop. Let's just be honest. And Roadhouse. Mandy, RoboCop, and Roadhouse is pretty much all we really watch.
Why does Mandy weigh into that equation?
Oh, I don't know, man.
It's a great watch when you're just buzzed up with like a room like 20 fucking wasted men.
All right.
Angela, I never saw Mandy until they played at the feast last time, and I was like, "What the?" I was like sitting there forever. I couldn't leave because it was so bizarre. I had to find out what happened next. It is intense.
It's to switch things up from the comedy.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
like, okay,
great.
MacGruber, Roadhouse, those make sense.
Oh,
Those
Tim and
check
Eric's
out.
awesome show. We always watch Tim and Eric's awesome show, or The $1 Million Movie. We
watched Toxic Avenger last time. That was
Okay,
hilarious.
those all make sense. Mandy?
Yeah.
That's like straight horror.
Well, Aaron, I think Aaron was pushing.
No, that was me. That was me. That was all.
Oh, that was you. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was me.
Kudos to you on that. But MacGruber is a really funny movie. Please watch it if you can find it. It's rated R, though. It's a very hard R, too. So I want to make that clear. Not for the children. But Val Kilmer's in it. He plays the lead bad guy. But this is before, this is 2010. So he doesn't have the unfortunate occurrence that happened to him. It's nice to see him.
The bad guy these days, seems.
Yeah, right? It was nice to see him like one for the road before things went south. And he's great in it, too. Simple, but solid. And then the other movie, Liar Liar, that's the Carrie Elways movie. I hadn't watched it in a while. Threw on some Liar Liar. Still laughed. So funny. Yes. I mean, it's funny. I was actually thinking about the fact that, Maura Tierney and him, they end up together at the end. That kind of bothered me more this time. First time ever, which is just pointless. It doesn't matter.
Wait, Maura Tierney and Carrie Elway end up together?
Oh, no, that Jim Carrey and Maura Tierney end up together.
Oh, yeah. She probably was better off with Carrie Elway.
I mean, it was a fantasy movie anyway, so I guess why not? I mean, why not have a fantastical, ridiculous ending where that would never happen?
Yes.
I've had better.
Had better? I was thinking of Eric for some reason, and
for some fucking reason.
I'm sure I was thinking of his 2000.
We are friends.
After all, we are friends. I was thinking of your Halloween costume when you played Tom Cruise from Collateral, so I fired up Collateral.
Amazing.
I was like,
yeah,
and it reminded me that you don't like Michael Mann all that much, but you're a huge Tom Cruise fan, so that's probably why you like that movie more than anything, right?
love Michael Mann. Thief, his crowning achievement, of course. Heat.
Yeah, but before you saw Thief, you didn't feel that way. You were we have footage from this show where you're saying like, well, Michael Mann.
Yeah, all right. I'll give you that.
Travis, can you back me up on this? Did that happen?
I was there. I saw it. He reached up with his dead hand and he signed it in his own blood.
Thank you. But when he watched Thief, it changed, and that's good. I'm happy that you're growing. If anything, this show makes people grow in a way. That's pretty cool. I think that's exciting. Sure it is. But yeah, Collateral's okay. I didn't think it was that great. I watched Mud. I only seen it one time when it first came out. And, the McConaughey movies, I'm still finishing up a few of those.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that great, to be honest with you. I think it's a little overrated. Yeah, I know. I liked it when it first came out, and it was well received.
It's good, but I thought it was a little overhyped because I watched it recently and thought, like, okay, that's good, but everyone's acting like it was like it's one of the upper echelon McConaughey's, and I just thought he could have done it in his sleep.
Yes, exactly. And it's got the guy from Ready Player One, that kid. He was actually really good in that. I'll give him that.
It's got Sam Shepard in it, and that's really nice. I wish there was more Sam Shepard in it.
It was one of the final Sam Shepard roles, right?
Yeah.
You guys know this. We cover this. I watch Mermaids with you. You fired up Mermaids,
Yes,
Travis.
we watched Mermaids together. the Cher film from 1989. We basically live tweeted that or live texted that to one another.
We did.
In the year of our Lord, 2021.
All right, but guys, it's not good.
Turns out it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's not good.
Come on. I mean, you think it's gonna be good because how could you go wrong? It was not good.
Bob Hoskins, Cher, Winona Ryder. You're right. Christina
Ricci. Yep.
Pretty bland.
Yeah,
Got it.
Very bland.
No one's going to defend Mermaids on the show. I don't think.
All right.
I honestly, Winona Ryder bugged the fuck out of me in that movie too. Eric.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, she just bugged
Not
the
possible.
fucking shit out of me. Just shut up with all the inner monologue. Just shut off the inner. I fucking. That's like I can handle some some voiceover shit. I'm not as bad as it doesn't bother me as much as you, Mike. But man, this movie is just like shut up.
Were the hard S's happening? Were you getting upset with her S's in the?
I was just getting up with it was just just beating this fucking drum of misunderstanding Catholicism.
He's right. Yeah,
it was bad.
It was. And Bob Hoskins, you're right. It was like bland Bob Hoskins. I mean, he was actually the fun part of the movie, frankly, and I'm not being biased.
He was the best part.
Bob Hoskins is always a joy. I tried to watch Running with Scissors. Remember this came out in 2006? It was supposed to be with
I read that book but never saw the movie. Was it good?
I turned it off. I couldn't stand it.
Oh shit.
It's a good you got Annette Bening and Alec Baldwin are the parents of this guy who wrote it's based on his experience, right? The book that you're talking about. It's irredeemable. And Brian Cox plays this therapist guy who shows up and he starts talking about his dumps and Annette Bening's bowel movements.
I did watch it. Yeah, you're right. It was such a bad movie. You're right. I did watch it. I forgot about that.
The bowel movements got him.
Yeah. Brian Cox, is a shitting psychiatrist.
It just sounds horrible.
It is. Brian Cox was on a roll trying to play therapist back-to-back years with Zodiac and this movie. I don't know why that happened, but movie's trash. It's real bad. And then I'll close it out with I watched Don John. Hadn't seen it since it come out.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. Really like Don John a lot. It's an honest tale, beautiful storytelling. Well done. I'd like to see more directions from Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think it would be worthy. But the movie that I didn't know I was absorbing until after the fact was A Million Little Pieces. Now, some of you might remember A Million Little Pieces was a book that ended up, you remember this? Yeah.
He's a liar. Liar.
Yeah. So Oprah recommended his book in 2006 for her book club in her early stages. Back then, it was a huge thing, right? Oprah Book Club, big time.
Yeah.
And
to have
he
her
lied.
stamp. To have her stamp on your book.
And he lied. It was a memoir about drug abuse, but it was bullshit. So he admitted it, and she tongue lashed him on her show. But for some reason, they decided to make a movie about this in 2018, a couple of years ago.
What the fuck?
This is
they did the same thing with the guy that claimed that he invented the flaming hot Cheetos or whatever. Like they know that the guy didn't fucking do it, and they're still going ahead and making the movie about him coming up with it. Like what the fuck? Just because he said it a bunch and it was, people tweeted it, they're gonna watch the movie about it because they don't care about the truth. Yes, that's the answer.
I knew this would
it's not
piss
even
you
going
off.
to be inspired by a true story. It's like they keep true story off of this flaming hot Cheetos movie. Just get out of here with it.
Wow, you guys are passionate about your flaming hot Cheetos.
I fucking hate that shit, but I hate lies even more.
Yeah, historical movies already can be problematic, as we all know. But this is just ridiculous. But the thing is I didn't know. It didn't register to me when I started the movie that A Million Little Pieces was the A Million Little Pieces book. I just forgot. I completely forgot. So I watched this movie freshly as a movie, and it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, the star, And it's done by his wife at the time, which Travis filled me in on their current situation, which is not so great, unfortunately. Sam Johnson, who's much older.
I don't know them personally, but
he doesn't, but it kind of felt like he
Behind
almost
my
did.
scenes.
Yeah, and I'm telling you.
I read an article once. Who the fuck am I?
But it's got Giovanni Ribisi in it. It's got Billy Bob Thornton in it. And so you're like, wow, we got some nice character pieces in here. And it's basically takes place entirely in a rehab facility. Also, Charlie Hunnam, the guy from Sons of Anarchy. And
Hunnam, I think. Maybe?
Hunnam?
I don't know.
I don't know either. But I watched it without knowing that it was fake. And frankly, as somebody who experienced this stuff, I mean, it really hit me hard. And to find out after the fact, like I sent pictures. I sent the standard crying pic. I only cried once in the last 7 days. So.
I saw that, Eric.
Yeah. Good, please. Yeah. I want
He
more
shows
people
me
to see
when
it.
you guys send those pictures.
That's why we do it. It's funny, but it's also
like-
like a commentary on men who don't feel feelings. That's weird. We're meta. We're very meta in that text thread.
Does the audience know about this?
We've talked
Yeah.
about. We never showed any of the pictures though.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever actually shown the audience a picture, but we've talked about it enough. Yeah, he's right.
I feel like you guys need to post those.
Yes. At any rate, the movie made me feel a lot of things, and I got very emotional about it because it reminded me of some of my own experiences. Then I found out after the fact it was that stupid book, and I don't know how to feel to this moment. I really don't know how to feel right now, but it did affect me in a way, so it happened.
Wow. All right.
You feel manipulated?
I always feel manipulated when I watch a movie and feel an emotion, regardless. I'm handing over my manipulation pass. Like, all right, you're gonna manipulate me. I'm gonna get 2 hours. Let's do it.
All right. So that's what you watched. No major recommendations. Nah.
Didn't I?
All right.
No.
Well, Inside. I guess Bo Burnham's
Yeah,
Inside.
yeah. I mean, without a
that'd be
doubt.
the major
Without a
recommendation.
doubt.
All right. I also watched movies. We kind of trashed Anthony Hopkins' Magic last week a little bit, but I'd never seen it, so I figured I better watch it.
What?
You know, Richard Attenborough did this between A Bridge Too Far and fucking Gandhi. So I watched it. Eric, have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I brought it up. I said I loved it.
Oh, I didn't catch it. I made a joke.
Oh.
You loved it. I fucking hated it. I hated it. I couldn't believe some of the things that were happening in this movie. In fact, I don't know if you guys still wanted to do this, but we were talking about most embarrassing roles. I wrote this role down for Anthony Hopkins because like this is he's really going for it. He's giving it his all, but the fucking material is embarrassing. And you know what scene I'm talking about with Burgess Meredith in particular. Yeah, he's nodding for those that can't see. I also watched The Blob from 1958,
Ooh.
which I had actually seen before, but it had been since I was a little kid. It's fucking awesome. It's so good. There's a reason why The Blob is so scary because it's so fucking like creepy and stealthy when it's small, and then like you don't know when it's on you. But by the time, and nobody believes you when you're trying to like tell them about it. But then by the time they could believe you, it's too fucking big and to contend with. So I really enjoyed The Blob. I watched The Ice Road with Eric. We kind of we didn't watch that. We kind of texted each other with that one. Did you know that was written and directed by the guy who wrote The Saint?
Oh
Wow.
Yeah, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
no.
Yeah, he's again now he's shaking his head. He's not really using his words.
I turned the ice road off after the credits like crumbled into ice. I was like, I can't do this right now.
Oh, I watched
So
the whole
knowing-
damn
yeah.
thing.
Knowing it's from the guy who did The Saint, the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, I'm not going back.
I loved Cold Pursuit so much. I was hoping for something similar again, but it was nothing like Cold Pursuit.
By the
watched,
way, I'll tell you real quick. Our friend
Go
Corey
ahead.
also watched that movie this week, so everyone's watching that movie this week. Right?
yeah, it was number one on Netflix the day it came out because the people like Liam Neeson, but man, it was not good. There was one good scene with Lawrence Fishburne, I'll give it that. But other than that, it wasn't great.
I was happy to see Lair in something, but too bad it wasn't good.
Yeah, it wasn't good. I watched Mike. I think you might be interested in this one. What's the guy's name? Trey something Schultz, the guy that did Waves, and he also did It Comes at Night. I watched his first movie called Krisha. This was brutal. It's a quick and dirty 85 minutes about a woman that's in recovery in her 60s. and she comes home to her like a strange family reunion for Thanksgiving to like see like the son that she abandoned and they're like taking care of. And it's her first time like trying to prove it to everybody that she's got her shit together. And she has a fucking relapse, and it's a true story. And Trey is playing like him fucking self, and they're like, and like that's his real aunt, and like they're playing like relatives of theirs. It's so like a lot of it's like really like improv, incredibly raw. And I learned that this guy Schultz, I think his name's Schultz.
Schultz, Trey Edward Schultz.
Edward Schultz. Yeah, he worked for Malik for a while. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Like watching this movie in particular, I really liked it. I think you would like it too. But it is heavy as fuck. So Krisha, Krisha was worth seeing.
Yeah, it was real quick. It was a short.
Yeah, it started out. Well, he did a short. Then he did it. He came back and
just for the audience not to get confused.
Yeah, he used that to get the money to do a larger version of that. So now I've seen all of his movies, and they're all bangers, man. Even It Comes at Night, which I wasn't that crazy about, is beautifully shot. So,
loved it.
Bangers and Mash.
Yeah. I watched. You know what?
And Bash?
I've got a couple movies still to recommend here. I watched The Battery, which apparently is a baseball term, right? Like it's a pitcher is this true? Yeah, it's
the catcher, they're the battery together.
Mumblecore zombie feature, a really low budget independent like comedy drama thing, like just about like these two guys who are like, it's post-apocalypse. You barely see any zombies throughout most of the movie, and they're just getting on each other's fucking nerves because they're the only two people left in the world with one another. And it gets a little, there are moments where I'm like, okay, enough with the indie soundtrack, but like, man, by the time it ends, this is a unique picture in the zombie genre. Like, there's only so many ways to do this, but like, there's so many zombie movies where it's just like you're watching like someone's like, this is one of the survivors. Like, this is gonna be Rick Grimes. This is gonna be like George Washington, and they're gonna be able to talk about like how Woody Harrelson and so cross. You know what I mean? It always seems like they're gonna survive forever, and that's like not. This is not exactly that. No spoilers, because honestly no spoilers. But like you definitely don't get the sense that these guys are like in the right place and like well suited for their environment. It was good. The Battery. I watched Child's Play from 2019. You guys, this was fucking awesome.
I dug it.
It was so good. As far as a reboot goes, like it was very updated, right? Like it was relevant. And it says all these things about not just technology, but like also about like toxic relationships and like class and like how technology works in class and like capitalism and stuff. It was another one. I thought it was really good.
That's not what you want out of a horror movie. It's like, you want the demon in the doll. That's all you want. No subtext, right?
Wow.
We watch horror for very different reasons, Ange. I do want the demon in the doll. Don't get me wrong, but I want that other stuff too. Go ahead, Eric.
This guy wasn't scary to me.
It's a reboot. They remade Nightmare on Elm Street. They remade Friday the 13th. They remade Texas Chainsaw. Yes, they remade what I consider a complete classic, Love Child's Play, 1987.
Yeah.
But at
Tom
least
Holland.
they did something different.
Right. This was unique, and it had the spirit of the original while still being very much its own. I truly enjoyed it. There were some things where I'm like, who would make these choices? But it's a horror movie.
I have a hard time with remakes. I appreciate your opinion, though. I have a hard time. Most of the time, I hate a remake. Go ahead.
My last film, which is gonna be my main recommendation for the week, is a really great Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo feature that I watched.
This is a joke, right?
From 1988. This is one of the recommendations I got from one of the In Search of Darkness documentaries. Recommended this. Dead Heat. This is a fucking good movie. I mean, it's campy as shit. This is like put it on late at night when you're not entirely in your senses. But you got the premise is like your classic 90s, like one cop is in a suit, one cop's got a mullet, there's an angry black chief with a mustache. Like it's like super tropey. But then the twist is that you've got zombies, and they can like there's a way to bring people back to life for like 12 hours after they've been killed, and one of the cops gets murdered, and so they bring him back to solve his own crime, like his own murder. And it's actually like, I mean, it's pretty fucking good. Like, you got Vincent Price in this thing, you've got Darren McGavin. I honestly really enjoyed Dead Heat. So that would be my main recommendation.
You didn't mean Joe Pantoliano. You seriously meant Joe
fucking
Piscopo?
Joe Piscopo, dude. Yeah. And you get what you expect with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo in an 80s cop movie. Like, go in like expecting what you're expecting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's going to be, it's like Manhunter. No, it's not fucking Manhunter. But yeah, it was good.
By the way, IMDb has like completely changed their website. It's really bothering me.
I don't care for it. I noticed. I saw that.
Yeah, this is Dead Heat.
Sir, don't like it.
Joe Piscopo. I saw Joe Piscopo in Sidekicks. That was fun.
I know. I thought of you when I watched the movie because we had talked Piscopo on the show before.
Was he ever funny at any moment?
People
ever?
talk Piscopo?
No.
Yeah, they do.
No, and he's not even like. And the only way he's funny in this is because, like, he's trying to be funny, but it's just like, you know what I mean?
You're
it's
laughing
like
at him, right? You're never laughing with
you're
him.
not like but you're also not like it's not like I'm not saying this is only like ironically good. No, it's pretty good.
you ever see the clip when like he tries to do the Letterman in front of Letterman, and Letterman's clearly like, "Fuck you, you prick! Get the hell out of here! You're not funny." What?
I think that's a new quote though. So I was talking Piscopo. Right?
as you do. Did you guys want to talk about embarrassing roles more, or do we actually want to do that? Because I mean, I assembled a couple people, but I don't know.
We got to do that for another episode. Because
we'll
I'm not
do that
prepared.
another episode.
Hoskins as Mario says it all. I mean, come on.
Oh, come on. That's obvious. That's too obvious.
Right,
boring.
There was talk of actually bringing back a segment, but we're not going to do that. We are going to do it
in the future.
Right, we will in the future. What we will do instead is get right into a life less ordinary. Mike, you look like a guy whose partner left him for an aerobics instructor. You got that air about you.
Yeah, I do, don't I? I look like that guy. Yeah, don't worry. It'll all work out for me in the end.
All right. And you picked this. I'm still hosting, Mike. You can host. You can take the hosting reign.
You're doing great, man.
All right, and you picked this.
I did.
Tell us why did you pick this, and tell us about do you remember when you first watched it and how you felt about it, all that jazz?
Yeah, I picked it because I haven't seen it in probably 15 years, and so I honestly wondered if it held up. I used to watch it a lot in high school. I remember I was at my friend Julie Goldsmith's house. She showed it to me for the first time. Everyone had a big crush on Ewan McGregor after this movie and Train Spotting. It was a thing.
Everyone had a big crush on Julie Goldsmith too, so that's fine.
Yeah, okay, Travis, that might have been you. But we all know about that crush. So anyway, Ewan McGregor, everybody had a crush on him, and she did, and she was like, "We got to see this movie." And I just remember watching it, and all the little funny quotes were what kept me interested in it, and just how he's so panicked the whole time. He's just distraught the entire movie. But as you know, I think the one-liners are really what I remember about it on the rewatch. But I won't get into that yet, as I know you guys don't do. But yeah, I mean, I loved the movie back in the day, and I thought, it was a great romantic comedy. The cast was amazing. I love anything basically with Holly Hunter in it. And yeah, I mean, I got nothing else. It was just good in high school. I think
it was a good choice for the show.
Yeah.
I do. Eric, do you remember when you first watched it?
Yeah, it was last week. I'd never seen the film. I've got kind of like a like-hate relationship with Ewan McGregor. So I wasn't upset that this was the pick, because when he's using like his regular Scottish accent, I actually quite like him. Like, I love Shallow Grave. I think that's a
Yeah.
fucking masterpiece. I think it's
It's
Danny Boyle's best film. And he was great as Mark Renton. But, like, whenever he tries to play an American, I think he is the most boring actor in Hollywood, period. So I stayed away from it for reasons. But, yeah, this was the first time for me, Mike.
Well, the negotiations were short. I'll tell you this. He is a good actor, and he deserves a praise. He's played Mark Renton twice, by the way, which is fun. And Danny Boyle is hit or miss, though. Danny Boyle can be an elite director. And, you know, you think a name like that. He's a big name. I feel like Danny Boyle is an elite. Yeah. Hey, I know that guy. Even people who are not even massive movie fans. Like, hey, Danny Boyle, he's that guy who did Trainspotting. He's the guy who did Scumdog Booyah, you know. Scumdog Bouillabaisse?
Scumdog Bouillabaisse.
Yeah.
Bouillon cube.
American classic.
Oh, bouillon cubes. Man, I cannot believe I used to eat bouillon cubes when I was a kid. I would just suck on them. It's so gross. So salty.
gross.
So salty. I watched this movie. You know, it's not. But when you're, you know, Travis, you've been in my house when I was a kid. There was not a lot of food there. There was always mac and cheese, nothing else.
It was like, hey, do you like tap water? How about some tap water?
Oh, by the way, I really laughed a lot when we mentioned the clown's house, and Travis said there was nothing ever to eat there. That was such an astute observation. You're right. You're right. There was nothing ever
food.
there.
Barren cupboards, empty fridge.
She was a healthy sized woman, and there was never anything.
I wasn't even trying to go there. I mean,
I know you weren't, but I'm just making that
like,
connection. Like there had to be food somewhere. It's just how it works. I know. All right. Anyways, this movie I watched.
Bouillon cubes.
Yeah, maybe 8 months ago, was it? 6 or 8 months ago, I watched this movie for the first time. Ange, so, yeah. So when I talked about it on the show, I think I was a bit harsh on the film. I still thought it was entertaining. So, you know, I watched it again with a fresh perspective. I didn't have to, what's going to happen next, not edge of my seat. And we'll talk about that more. But that was my first watch. It was a little while ago.
Well, I guess I'm the only one that, you know, that was like a true does it hold up then, because I like All right, that Reba? Sudden burst of Reba?
Melissa Etheridge, man.
Yeah,
all right. Sorry, Melissa Etheridge. Why? Do you know Mike Govier? I mean, there's always Katie Lang or someone about to pop out. Yeah, so I grew up with this movie too. I had a box copy of this film at my house. Like I liked it enough to buy it and like watch it over and over again. And I tell you, I couldn't remember a fucking thing about this movie. When I sat down last night to watch it, I was like, I remember that Delroy Lindo and Holly Hunter are angels. And that was literally it. Like I barely remember that Cameron Diaz was in the film, which it's funny because this was like really early for her. This was one of her big breakout roles. But I watched this movie when it came out because I mean, like Danny Boyle was one of those guys. I was just starting to get to the age where I was like, you know, I am serious about film. You know, I was just starting to think, you know, so he'd done Shallow Grave and he'd done Trainspotting. So like this was the follow up. So I saw it as soon. I don't even know if it went through theaters. I don't think it came through like Brighton, Michigan's theaters. But yeah, I don't think it did. But I caught it as soon as it came out on video and loved it. And then have not watched it or thought about it at all until this show. And it has been one that like I was thinking about choosing as well. So good call, Ange.
Yeah.
I will take over briefly here just because I always do this.
By all
it's
means.
easy. Thank you. So the IMDb score, I don't know what it is. I'm gonna guess that it's a 6.7. It's likable but not legendary. What do you guys think? Anybody?
I don't know either. Did anybody checked? Eric, you check? All right.
No, I'm gonna say maybe 6.4, 6.5 maybe.
Ange, you got a guess? You're muted, Ange. I'm gonna guess.
Sorry,
I'm gonna guess 6.5. I'm gonna guess healthy middle. You got it, Mike?
6.4. Very close. Right. Wow, you are. Travis always on the pulse of the nation when it comes to.
No, I'm usually dead wrong with these things. I'm always under guessing. What are you talking about?
Yes, no one. I don't know. Maybe we should have somebody go back and like do it. Every one of the episodes we've done, find out how many times somebody was closer than not. Because I don't really know the truth of that.
Any unpaid interns that want to work for the show and go through the archives of our collection. We're also looking for a graphic artist to fix our shitty logo. For
Our VHS collection.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of songs about blue-collar jobs in the past, but I felt there needed to be a song about the exploitation of labor in the modern world.
Yeah.
Life Less Ordinary gets 41% from the critics. 41, Ange. Is that
not kind?
That's not kind.
That's harsh.
Yeah, it's a little harsh, I feel like. But, I have new opinions about it. So.
Okay. 59% from the audience score, so that's a tipped over bucket of popcorn in case you're wondering. Somewhat of a gap, though, between the two. Critics-wise, well, Mike Clark of USA Today said, lovely to look at, a semi-chore to sit through. This flick could have used an extra blast of pixie dust?
What?
An extra blast of pixie dust. This guy got paid for that.
I feel like it already has plenty of pixie dust. If anything.
Yeah, if anything, there might be an excess of pixie dust in this movie.
There might be.
By the way, there's only 2 pages of reviews, which is by far at least tied for the lowest we've ever had for a film. Roger Ebert was still alive, though. He said, the plot's a mess. The characters flail about in scenes without points. And the more we see of Cameron Diaz and Ewan McGregor, the more we yearn for a nice, simple little love story.
Fair.
Yeah, God bless Roger Ebert. I think that's totally fair. Like, the movie even jokes about how Robert writes these trash novels that are super obvious. And for me, like, I like the chemistry of Ewan McGregor and Cameron Diaz, but I just wished it was just trash standard romantic comedy. I would have liked it better.
Ooh, okay, so you're kind of on board with that. Here's one. This is from Scott Weinberg of eFilmCritic.com. A failed experiment for hardcore fans only. Does that tell you a lot about that?
Not pulling any punches.
Yeah, but seriously, like, you got paid for that? Like, that's not a review.
Let me close it out. Yeah, I know.
That's how he
you're right.
clearly felt.
It tells us nothing. You're right. I'll close it out with this one. This is from Frederick and Mary Ann Brusat from Spirituality and Practice. I don't know if you ever read Spirituality and Practice. A madcap comedy. A madcap comedy about soulmates, period. There you go.
That's a
These are the worst.
Okay, all right. Well, let's
A lot
get
of
into our own
bad.
reviews.
No Destin Thompson. A lot of bad.
No,
Yeah.
Well, clearly there's no Destin. We would have already been saying his praised name. Let's review it ourselves. Then let's do it ourselves. Where to begin? There is a rockin' rollickin' soundtrack going through this thing that definitely got the sense that there's a album released, a soundtrack released, but I don't remember there being like a soundtrack for this. Do you guys remember that?
There probably was, but I don't remember. It was one of those 90s soundtracks that made the movie kind of made the movie rewatchable so many times.
Yeah. There's a heavy soundtrack. The score itself, holy shit! Lord save us from 90s persistent techno scores. Like there's a chase or whatever. Just like the same fucking like all of a sudden it's like house music, just like nonstop. Like
it was probably
a lot of
Chemical Brothers or something.
Yeah, it was not that good.
The Dust Brothers.
Maybe
some brotherly crew.
Some sort of brotherly something. Yeah, so that was.
It's pretty bland, but it's like I'm sure that there's fans out there of this soundtrack. Oh, dude, yeah, the Life Less Ordinary soundtrack. Let's fire that up. Not me.
The songs, REM on there. There's some okay songs, but the score I hated.
Yeah, it's just overstuffed. It's like I don't know if it's because it's the late '90s, but it's just like this short attention span theater type ADD soundtrack. Like we don't need it. Like I can dig like a Howard Hawks screwball comedy. You don't have to convince me that it's hip by putting all this dumb music on everything.
It's absolutely because it's the late 90s.
Yeah, it feels.
You gotta Let's see. Do you know any of these? You got Diana Ross and the Supremes is on this. I know them.
Yeah,
Sneaker
I've heard of
Pimps. Not more 90s. Sneaker Pimps. Elastica. Very 90s.
Oh, I love Elastica.
Yeah, that one song was fun. Yeah. So
like the
yeah, you're
album.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot of weird. Actually, it's a weird mix. You have the Shirelles, so it's like 60s and 90s soundtrack wise.
Yeah, yeah. Because there's a lot of like fantasy stuff. Obviously, the big karaoke scene. Because this came out the same year as My Best Friend's Wedding, and clearly Cameron Diaz wanted to prove to people, "Hey, y'all, I can truly do karaoke." Danny, can we put a whole extended karaoke
I was
scene?
thinking the same thing. Like she couldn't sing in either movie. I'm like, why?
I thought you sang fine in this. I like that it's both their voices. It's clearly them singing. I did like that.
Yeah, late '90s karaoke movies. Remember duets with fucking Gwyneth Paltrow and
Yeah, Huey Lewis in that. That's a great movie. Yeah, it's done by his
is it
her father, right? Isn't that her father who directed that? What's his face?
Jeff
I have
Paltrow.
no idea. I do not remember
Bruce
duets.
Paltrow?
Well, her
Is it
mom
really?
is her mom is Blythe Danner, so we know that.
of course,
Whoever
know
Blythe
that.
Danner was married to. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyways, who
Blythe
fucking
Danner's-
cares about
Blythe
duets?
Danner's husband.
Yes, there's a lot of. I want to talk. Can we talk about? I think we covered the soundtracks there, right? Can we talk about the? First off, the fact that Ian Holm's in this movie and the relationship he has going on here, it's really weird, man. Could this movie have been made without him entirely? Anybody?
Which one is Ian Holmes?
He's the dad with the mustache. He's the rich man.
Ah,
So I mean, like you needed. I mean,
Or is he the plot driver here?
yeah, he's the plot driver, but he's really inconsistent, I feel. You're going to wait 6 weeks to pay your daughter's ransom when she's a kid, but then she gets older and you're going to pay you're going to like at least put $500,000 on the line to a couple collection agents who say they're going to start being assassins, I guess.
Did he like turn down the FBI and go with another option? Like
That's a better
what
question.
is this?
My question is, does the police force exist in this universe other than the security guard at the one that like shoots once and then like, okay, I did my part, I'm gonna go inside. Is there like there's literally that's it. That's the extent of a police presence in this movie.
Well, you have a.
yeah.
Go ahead, Ange.
I was just gonna say it's weird because the angels, they really do come in as authority most of the time. So one of my favorite one-liners is, I remembered it and I laughed out loud. When they were pretending to be the collection agency that they were gonna evict him, and Holly Hunter says, "We can do this with violence or without." Well, without, please. Like, those stupid lines, but yeah, they're always coming in as what, hitmen. They're coming in as FBI types. They're coming in as collectors.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how horny did Holly Hunter choose to play this role? 11?
What?
Like
I
she's
don't know
like she's
what
literally
was, like-
rubbing herself like through the movie and like grinding against the pavement. Like she's acting like she's on ecstasy through the whole fucking movie. Like, what is going on, Holly? I love Holly Hunter, and she's gorgeous in this. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It's just not how but there's a lot of things these angels are doing, which is not how I'd imagine angels would act.
Yeah,
Like-
what the fuck's going on, man?
Thank you,
The
Mike.
Danny
Explain
Boyle, what did he do here? Or who led the direction beyond the direction of what their intentions are? How was it edited this way? How was it shot this way, I guess? I'm trying to find out who's exactly to blame. The actors are partly responsible, but they were probably told to play it this way. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. We never know what the hell they're doing. We don't have to know every intention. I don't need to have it spoon-fed to me, but all of their decisions and applications of their efforts are just they're off the charts ridiculous, and I don't even know what's happening, and I lose interest. I just don't care.
I don't understand these bounty hunters. Like they very nearly kill the participants that they're trying to make fall in love. And
Right.
the 2 times, in my opinion, maybe even 3, that Robert and what's her name actually start falling for each other and have this sweet connection is the musical number in the karaoke bar, which
Celine.
the Angels don't even seem to have anything to do with. It's just like a visual choice by the director to have it all fantastic. And B, the the poem that doesn't even work out. And then C, Tony Shalhoub probably gives them the best advice out of the whole picture, and it has nothing to do with the Angels.
And also, like, why do you need to be talked into chasing her? Like, why do we need a movie where the protagonist needs to be convinced? All right, so we're already starting to do the thing I was a little bit worried might happen with this podcast, because this is my fantasy, or not fantasy, this is my imagination, is like, you know, there's some person out there in the world who's like, you know, get on their phone, they're like, oh, I like cinema, I like podcasts. I'm gonna scroll through. Oh, someone did a podcast about my favorite movie. Let's check it out and hear what they have to say. But it's already starting to be pretty clear that, like, there's some issues with this film, and we're all wholly aware of it. Am I right? We could just lean into it.
I think that I still really like. I think that review was pretty good, because I still really like the romantic comedy aspect and the aspect of Cameron Diaz trying to, you know, pull one over on her old man, and basically she's directing him on how to, and he's panicked the whole time. And that whole thing I still love. It is what I loved about it in the first place. But on this watch, it fell apart in the middle. I was like, get out of here, Angels. You're boring. Like, it's too much. We don't even need that storyline. The movie is long.
There's a good skeleton here, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm not really into like Stockholm Syndrome movies personally, and we got yet another movie where a man punches a woman. I'm just gonna start like making a whole list. It's like every fucking movie we watch. Apparently, it's just it's an epidemic. But there is some good stuff here. I just feel like the mostly it's the Angels' motivations, and we kind of already touched on a little bit, but like they put them at such risk, their subjects, and like if they don't get these two people together, they're stuck on Earth, which apparently is a bad thing they don't want, right? So like they're going to do everything in their power to get them together. It's not clear why they're so important, these two, but that's fine. But like it's not even just like that they're shooting him. Like when Bo puts I'm talking about like he's gets Shorty's character. Whatever the character dude's name. Whenever Delroy Lindo's character puts Robert, which is Ewan McGregor's character, in the grave, like at that point, I'm pretty convinced he really is going to shoot him, right? Like it seems pretty clear that he's like, I've waited long enough, and like I guess he was like waiting for, you know, Cameron Diaz in her Barbara Bush haircut to come and save the day, which she eventually does. But I don't know. They just put him at such risk repeatedly.
You get an interesting scene right before that when Delroy Lindo talks about destiny and how even the angels can disagree with God. So you've got these little seeds there. And it's not that I disliked the angel characters per se. It's just they're in the wrong movie. If you gave me like 3 like anthology type stories where they're trying to get a few people together and it's not as like, I don't know, anachronistic or whatever, or even in this particular scenario, I would dig it. It's just it's a mismatch of horrific proportions.
I don't know about horrific proportions.
Wow.
Your husband likes hyperbole.
It's just there's too many plots going on. I still enjoy it. I probably wouldn't watch it over and over again like I used to, because it's just so long. It's long.
That whole episode on the road there with the cars and the trying to get the money, and it's like I just start fast forward through all that. I'm like, this is stupid as
it happens like
hell.
5 times.
Yeah, I know. It just keeps happening. I'm like, why does this keep happening? It's just like Roadrunner and Coyote shit. I mean, what's going on out here?
I think I have a bigger issue where I'm watching a movie and it's supposed to be like, okay, there is a criminal element clearly going on, a violent possibility that's always there, but like you're in it with these like supposedly good-natured protagonists. And then you get to the scene where Celine is holding a gun to the head of like a 12-year-old girl. and we're just supposed to just really continue on with that. And then like they're clearly, but then like they're really bad at their job of being bank robbers because they stop to make out the parking lot on their way to the fucking car and get shot for it. But so there's definitely some hijink stuff that's going on here, and like, and it has to happen because she's like there's no way for it to be a love story without her being on board from the start. I mean, shit, she gives him the gun, right, like early on, which is, you know, she wants things to go south.
Yeah,
True.
I think yeah, I didn't really notice the 12-year-old girl just because it's so outlandish. The whole movie is so outlandish that it's like, of course they stop in the parking lot and make out. Like, why wouldn't they? They're horrible at everything they do. He just screws up everything, and then he's panicked after he gets shot. Like, what? You're not taking me to a hospital? I demand you take me to a hospital. It's just kind of like all over. That's why I loved his character back then and now. Like, he just makes me laugh because he's so panicked, so flustered.
Yeah. Is this movie saying that opposites attract? Because there's clearly two different people. You know, they're different. He's supposed to be this romantic, right? He's so much a lover, and she's like a cold ice queen, kind of. Or at least that's how they're playing her off. She's hardcore. She's rough. She's tough. She uses people for money and opportunity. She hates her father. They have an awful relationship. Something happened with the mother. Blah 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 blah. But in the end, you know, Cameron Diaz kicks ass in this movie. I thought she's outstanding. She's funny. She's smart ass. And Ewan is kind of almost annoying in his character. He's like, well, I can't do anything right, and I don't know what to do.
I like his character fine. I the only thing that annoys me about his character is that fucking shirt he's wearing through the whole movie. Like,
or the haircut. Don't forget the haircut.
Shirt. Yeah, the haircut. It's better than Cameron Diaz's haircut.
But
I
love that hair.
Her
Yeah,
hair.
I love that hair too.
She looks like Betty White.
She looks,
but she'll
so
never
awesome.
look like Betty White.
She does like nobody else could pull that hair off.
The hair
that's true.
For those that are watching, I mean, the hair behind, like the hair she's got going right now, like that's a good cut. That looks good. But what she's got through much of the movie is very business like.
It's business time, man. Come on.
You know what I really love
Stanley
in this movie?
Tucci in this movie.
Oh, I have an answer to that. I have a total answer to that. For the bona fides, fucking indie bona fides. You take the two guys from Big Night, him and Tony Shalhoub, and just toss them in your movie. You've got independent film bona fides.
Wow. Yeah,
Right?
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I mean, when he shows up out of nowhere. Yeah, when he showed up the first time I watched this, I remember I'm like, what? He's back? What? Come on. But I guess it had to make sense because his name was kind of higher in the credits than it would have deserved if he just got whatever, he got shot early on.
Now, you know who I really do love in this movie is Maury Chaykin. I am a regular man. I thought Maury Chaykin was, but the whole thing with the barking friend was too much. But I do like Maury Chaykin. That was funny. Eric, you clearly agree with me, and I appreciate that.
I'm still upset about Stanley Tucci being wasted in this film. Like, he's a dentist, okay?
Oh,
and he's a bit
he
of,
got
like,
paid for a week of work, man. He's fine.
Like what? My point is, you have these wasted opportunities. Like, okay, he's a wacky like dentist, so like instead of just him like snapping pictures of Cameron Diaz and being all like this and that, like have him have like this weird like teeth fetish that he wants her to do. Something other than just this dumb nonsense. There's just
I don't know why this got to be.
well,
I thought he did serve a purpose. I mean, so for one, you like Ewan McGregor taking that bullet shows that like one, he's got premonition, I guess, and two, he's willing to take a bullet for her, which is a big deal in their relationship. And then two, you get the fact that something comes between them because it does follow that traditional trope: boy meets girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl. And so and he is the vehicle for that. So he kind of like serves as dual function in that role, and that he like fixes the leg because someone's got to. And I will give them credit that he actually limps through much of the movie. He seems like he's in pain a little bit directly after surgery. For being like a fantasy movie, There's so many movies where people get shot in the arm or the leg and they act like it's a paper cut. So it's like, all right, that's something.
I have a question. Why? Okay, I'm not judging any professions at all. I don't. Done most of them.
We prefer the term sex worker here for the record.
No, not that. Why are the only jobs he can get janitor and mop that floor? Like, what did he do? Why can't he get other jobs? I don't understand. Like, why are they making it so like she's so rich and he's mopping floors?
A better question is why are you going to hold a gun to somebody's head for a job where you mop floors? And like, also, what kind of idiot think going to get the job back? Like, I'm going to work for this person after, like, that's not going to work.
Why did he care so much about that job?
Well, he is also a rock star. You forgot about that.
Richie Vanderloo.
That was a lie, wasn't it?
Vanderloo.
Yeah, it was a lie.
It's very.
He has nothing going on for himself.
It drives
He's
home
not
the
attractive.
I like that it drives home the fact that it exists. The movie takes place, clearly in a time before Wikipedia. Like, Maury Chaykin's character couldn't just be like, "Oh, Richie Vanderloo," huh? Like, he can't go look that up. He just has to take him at their face value. It makes me think of your brother Eric, Jeff, who would supposedly he told us back in the day would tell people that he was the drummer for Three Doors Down and like Seven Married Three and shit like
Third Eye Blind.
Yeah,
he would do. He actually like almost played for them supposedly. I don't know if that was that. He was gonna like audition for them, but he would like go to bars. He would go to bars and like tell people that he played for Seven Mary Three on drums, and they'd fucking believe it. Like buy him drinks and shit.
I thought it was Third Eye Blind.
Third Eye
There's
Blind
a couple
was
stories here.
Okay.
All right.
It's fine. Who cares? The point is made. Yes, he sold it. It could be sold, and you can sell anything in the pre-Google era with no pocket phone available to all of us at any given moment. And we're missing those opportunities now, which is kind of a shame. You're right. That's it's kind of sad. I didn't think about that at all. Now I'm hoping to. It's never going to happen again, guys. I'm kind of sad.
How about that Timothy Oliphant popping in early in his career? That's not fun.
Hey, all right, woohoo! I love Timothy Oliphant.
Eric, you do have to say some things. You're a host on the podcast. You have
making a lot of faces.
Your opinion sometimes. You're just mugging and not saying anything.
Comes a point in any film that you set the pen down. So, I set the pen down about halfway through this film because I checked out. It's so exhausting. And I like Danny Boyle because usually he's so frenetic and hyperkinetic. But when you have a story that I'm not connecting with at all emotionally because of these characters and circumstances, and when you have this exhausting editing, that's why it feels so long. It's probably under 2 hours, but it feels like 3 because it's just hurling so much shit at you that's not that entertaining, but it's hurling at it at a fast pace.
I have information.
I can't disagree. I have an actual. Speaking of like getting a lot of misinformation, I feel like maybe I just missed this. Maybe you guys can explain it to me because I got confused towards the end. Like, so they're at the location where, when Ian Holm and the butler show up and shoot our angels, right? They're at like their base, right? Because that's where they were keeping Cameron Diaz hostage. Correct? Right, and their truck is in the background. The truck fare and whatever, like that's their location. That's the Angels' hideout or whatever. Okay, so why in the following scene do they transport the Angels' corpses from that location to the house where Maury Chaykin is nearby? The abandoned house out in the middle of nowhere that they just kind of found. Why would they transport the corpses to this location and prop them up in chairs? That does happen.
Answer that
because it goes from one place, right? That clearly happens.
Why indeed?
Okay, I'm just making sure that I didn't like miss a beat because that it doesn't show them like throwing them into the car and propping them up, but like it goes from one place to the other, which is also supposed to be. They're supposed to be a good distance apart. Like they're supposed to be out in the middle of nowhere in the cabin. So that's really weird.
It is, but they're angels, so maybe It was
No,
part
but
of the plan.
the humans did this. Angels are
Yeah.
dead. The humans, Ian Holm and the butler, they pick up the corpses and transport their bodies to the cabin and prop them up in seats.
Very confident. I talked about this when I talked about the movie before. I'm telling you, because
Okay.
it was so ridiculous. I'm like, what? The whole ending there and that final showdown, whatever the hell's going on with Murray's house, is really just strange when you start picking it apart of it. It's like, how did that happen? And what happened to that guy? And
I don't even think it takes a lot of picking apart. It seemed like pretty obviously, like, what the fuck is happening?
How
I
did you
agree.
guys like the end where they're in front of a green screen where the whole movie is showing behind them, and they're just like, "But we love each other, right? And that's how we met." And blah blah
So
blah.
yeah, the movie wraps up with them side by side. Yeah, exactly. You get like a best of moments going on behind them.
Yeah.
it's about the
Clip show.
claymation or what?
So, well, before the claymation bit, they had this conversation where they're like, it's like they get super verby and wordy and like,
Yeah.
like philosophical and like, and like, and then like they leave the diner together and go off to like face the world as claymation, which I sent you guys a picture of my face of myself.
That's
Watching
what
the
that was.
claymation bit. Yeah, that's the picture I sent you guys. My jaw kind of
Oh.
dropped. I'd completely forgotten about that, but I gotta say that claymation ending is the cringiest fucking thing I've ever watched on for our show.
Wow.
And any movie that we've watched, that claymation ending is cringy as
That's,
fuck.
The
Yeah,
Noid
why?
is better. The Noid is better claymation than that trash.
That's what
I
happens
just
when
don't
everybody's going
understand
off to shoot
why.
another movie.
Yeah. Well, it's like, what else can we throw in this son of a bitch? Like, what?
Yeah. Like, just don't
What
do
else?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's regrettable, probably. I wonder what Danny Boyle thinks of it today, actually. Maybe I'll look that up and find out.
Yeah, we should have looked that up before. There is moments where I had some fun off and on through this movie, but like by the time I'm like, why are they all the corpses there? And then there's like that green screen bit with like the best of behind them, and then there's like it was like a really like whatever the movie did right up until at the end, and I really feel like just fucking it crumbles. It just
Why
falls
did they
apart.
haul the corpses there?
Figure it out. So they could watch them potentially move later. They didn't know that they were going to move because it freaks Ian Holm out. But so they serve this function. But I feel like they shot the ending scene in two different locations and didn't get the footage that they wanted and just spliced them together and hoped that we wouldn't notice, is what I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it feels. Yeah.
Why did they haul the corpses?
So those listening that are really big Life Less Ordinary fans, we really hope you've enjoyed us here at the Cinema 9 Podcast.
I
Give
don't
us
think
5
there's a lot of
stars on the
Yeah.
iPhones. Whatever the fuck.
Based on all the ratings and stuff, I don't think there's a big audience for this movie, but that'd be my assumption.
6.5, right? 6.4. That's decent, man.
Yeah,
The score was worst on Rotten Tomatoes, though.
If you're out there like looking for love and you yourself may be interested in maybe some divine intervention where an angel will come down from heaven and try to murder you or write stuff for you to recite to someone you're interested in instead of you having to do any work, this could be the movie for you.
And it's got Dan Hedaya in it. Who doesn't love Dan Hedaya?
I'm not arguing that with you.
And he is perfect for that role. He is really good for that role. He's a little underutilized, but he's good for as the Archangel Gabriel. But still, like, I don't understand what's happening necessarily all the time. Okay, because we didn't talk about the whole so he arranges this big miracle so that Robert can get shot through the heart and live. So, but like, this is when I set my pen down. It took me towards the end. Like, I'm like, why in a million fucks would Celine walk into this house and be like, I can shoot him through the heart because he dreamed it? Like, you're an idiot. No, you can't. You can't. Like, no one would think this doesn't make a lick of sense. Like that, no one would think he dreamed it. So like, I believe in the power of love. No, that's fucking stupid. I'm
You're not
sorry.
in the movie, dude. You don't
I'm
get
sorry. I know. I just, where's my imagination? Where is my sense of frivolity? I don't know, but
Didn't you
only a
get the
complete.
foreshadowing that she's like an excellent shot, and
it. Yeah.
you know,
What? So she shot around his heart?
so she can shoot an apple, so she can shoot his heart. I
Yeah,
doesn't make sense to me.
So it would have made more sense if, because like she shoots Stanley Tucci in the head because he like speaks and like moves his hand and goes wait, and he doesn't trust her. It would have made way more sense if there was something perched on Ewan McGregor's head, which is where I thought it was going to go, and like he trusts her, so he doesn't move, and since she sets a good shot, she succeeds. Like that would make sense. But an individual walking into a room and deciding to shoot their lover through the heart to save their life, that's not good. That's not good storytelling. It's just there's no.
Oh.
It's dumb. It's just dumb. Sorry, but
It looks like Mike's shirt, kind of, when it happened.
oh, hell, 10-11. Get another call out on the show.
Gross.
All right. Well, anybody want to do this, or are we ready to make our rounds? All right.
I think so.
You ready? You wanna go
Angela,
ahead and start?
anything that we didn't cover? You picked this
Yeah,
movie, so.
No, I mean, I think we covered it all.
Well, why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
All right. Does it hold up? I would say no, because my gauge on does it hold up is would I watch it again? I'll probably never watch it again. I probably won't. Like, it's.
That is a succinct and conclusive answer.
Sorry.
No, that's great.
It had its time and place in my heart, and that was high school.
All right.
People change, right?
Some movies are like
you've
that.
grown. I bet Danny Boyle's grown too.
Danny
Who wants to go
Boyle.
So I go next? Anybody, you guys want to go next? Who's going next? I'll go next. Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. When I was 18 years old, it makes sense that I was dazzled by this movie and would find it like whimsical and cool and fun. Like it makes sense. I don't know why a man in his 60s would sign on to it, like, he was already working plenty. He was so busy that year. He'd like just done Fifth Element, which we covered recently. But
Yeah.
It had a place in my heart at the time. I'm glad that we revisited it because I probably would have otherwise kind of continued to carry on this thought in my head that it's a decent movie because I love Delroy Lindo. I love Holly Hunter. I love Cameron Diaz. And I like Ewan McGregor. So this and I like Danny Boyle. So this movie does not fucking hold up. It is, if you've made it this long as a listener that really likes this movie, I'm going to ask you to watch it again with an open mind.
Why'd they hold the bodies?
And again, like, I know it's always different when you're like watching a movie with a pen and you're like deliberately being critical, and maybe I'm being overly critical, but like, there's just these are a couple of assholes with making choices that don't make sense, and I think that the least sense is being made by Danny Boyle in both his writing and direction. This is not a good movie.
Oh. Well, I'll follow you up there. A Life Less Ordinary is a film that people enjoy, and some people don't. And depending who you are, you might like it, or you might not. In the end, it's entertaining, fairly entertaining, but it's really, really confusing. Seems like there's a bunch going on here, like a couple movies rolled into one, and the more you start looking at it, it's ridiculous. And even though the actors are fun, the actors all do, their noble best, and there's some passion involved, you can tell, but it's just like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on here? And I'm not I like fun stuff. I like stupid stuff. I like really stupid stuff. So stupid can play with me, but I won't accept when you're not being true to the intentions of the film and what the characters, or what they really would be doing and how they'd be acting in certain situations, because their motivations are lost upon the people who gave them the platform of the movie in the first place. So it's just hogwash. It's silly and weird. And,
it's balderdash.
yeah, it's balderdash. It's
it's scumfuckery.
Bouillabaisse.
Yeah, it's bouillabaisse. It's It's highfalutin trash, and it doesn't hold up.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Yikes! Is this gonna be a 4 for 4 situation?
Seems likely.
Yeah, you know what? I can admire the fact that he does try to do something a little bit different. I mean, that same year you've got excess baggage, where like it's the same like B plot, where like the robber gets a hold of the young lady and they end up falling in love because of the scenario. But I'll watch that in a second. In fact, that looks like Godfather Part 2 compared to this. This is a sloppy, incoherent, overconfident mess. I mean, and the saddest part about it is, for me, it doesn't deliver on its premise. And it shouldn't be that hard to deliver on what is kind of a cool premise. Two people get together and there's some divine influence there. But I don't even understand these seeds that they're planting. The divorce rate is low. God is pissed. So let's force two people that not let's get two people that are married back together that are in a rough spot. Let's force two people together to get together that don't belong together, don't want to have anything to do with each other. It's this plot. It's this fucking shitty script by a great writer. The dude wrote Shallow Grave and Trainspotting, but it's this odd mixture that doesn't play well. Granted, it's Danny Boyle's first kind of foray into like American road trip cinema. So, I mean, I think he bit off a little more than he can chew, and that's an understatement. But overall, we just got an exhausting piece of trash here. It doesn't hold up at all.
And again, we humbly apologize to any fans, but yeah, this is. I mean, it's a mess. It's frankly a mess. Like he's trying to say something about free will and fate, and like, and that gets so garbled. I don't know. Yeah, this movie just
Devil's Advocate did Free Will much better, in my opinion.
Bliss on tap.
I'm a fan of man.
All right.
Are we negotiating? Always.
Will that make an appearance on this show? Probably someday. But
it's worth a laughs at the very least.
Yeah, not next week, because I have the choice for next week. It's my turn to pick. We're getting back into our regular rotation, and it's my turn. So I picked a movie. So Eric and Mike, I would like to give you guys a little bit of an option, because I've really got two movies in my head. You feeling like something maybe from 30 years ago, or you feeling like something from like a decade ago?
Feeling a decade ago right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't done a movie from the like before the 90s in quite a long time. So I don't know.
We just did The Burbs. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we did Ghost in the Burbs not that long ago.
By the way, the 90s was 30 years ago.
That is correct.
This is
1991.
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles, 30th anniversary. Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Fuck yeah, dude. All right, let's do 10 years ago.
All
yeah,
right.
you got us close. We've done a couple movies like that you chose both times.
Well, I told you guys. Yes, I told you guys that I would bring us back to 2012, and I'm doing it again. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going back to 2012 again. A man that wrote and directed one of my all-time favorite movies, but I don't want to do that movie because I already know how I feel about that movie, and I'm pretty sure I feel about this other movie too. But we've talked about it on the show briefly, and when we mentioned it in brief once or twice, I want to jump into it. I'm talking about Andrew Dominik's Killing Them Softly.
Oh shit! Okay, all right.
That's my choice for next week.
Saw that in the theater.
Fantastic call. Loved it the first time I saw it. Haven't seen it since.
I can see myself sitting there right now.
I
Royal
loved
Oak
it when
Imagine Theater. Back row.
I loved it when all right, we'll do that next week. But I loved it when I first saw it too, and I watched it a couple times. But I figure it's time for a revisit. So
I'm glad you picked that one and not Jesse James. So.
Yeah, I already know how I feel about Jesse James, so I don't need to watch it for the show. And also just like I don't know, it's a very long movie. We have a lot to say about it. All right, so if you're following along at home over the course of the next week, by all means, watch Killing Them Softly. And have a great week. You guys, anything to add before we say goodbye to everybody? Thanks
for having me, yo.
We're going to go to some heaven for glamorous pussy over here. So that is a Life Less Ordinary reference for those that are not well versed in that movie. Yeah, and no, really, thank you so much for coming on. We truly, truly appreciate having you on again.
Yes.
And Fawn also.
Yeah, I mean, even though your movie didn't hold up, I mean, that's okay. Yeah.
It feels better when you also don't think it holds up.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys.
It is what it is.
Yeah, you're not gonna. You're fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't think it holds up either. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that's why you'd be fine. But I didn't know if you guys mentioned this at the beginning of the show or not. But the trailer for the Many Saints of Newark, very exciting. Very excited for that, and that is something that I think we should all go see in theaters.
Together?
Yes, at least two of us here. If I don't know, if maybe we could do a. I'd be willing to pick Travis up and go over there and meet you guys and do it together if you want. But
Let's
that would
do
be.
it.
I'm excited about it, big time.
I tell you, I don't watch previews, as you guys well know. I don't do.
No,
trailers.
yeah.
So I haven't watched that. But what I have done, and not to plug another podcast, is Michael Imperioli and Steven Sharipa, who plays Bobby Bacala. They have a podcast together where they analyze each episode. So I've started rewatching podcasts, and I'm doing one and one. I'm watching one episode, then I'm listening to the podcast episode, going back and forth. So that's how I'm going to prepare. I mean, I've watched this season. I've watched all seasons, like, I don't know, 6-7 times, but I'm ready to do it again.
Oh my God, I don't know if I can go back yet. It's so heavy. Have you noticed once you start going in like the first season, you're like, God dang, this is heavy. It starts to lighten up after that, but it's just a lot of stress at first. It is. It's so stressful.
It's too stressful. I can't do this. Yeah, I only watched it once, and that wasn't until 2016.
Wow,
I know Travis was shocked when I was telling you about that at the time. And that whole year, 2016, I was walking around going, "Woke up this morning," just all day, every day. That's all I
late.
did. So,
Just
do it again.
late to the game.
woke up this morning.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's honestly, we're gonna hang up, and I'm gonna go watch the third episode right now. That's what I'm gonna do. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks everybody.
Wait. Oh, one more thing. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
no,
one
by
more
all
thing.
means.
Yeah, I did this pod called "You, Me, and an Album." So I'd like you guys to follow it. This guy Al, he's a really nice man. He's older than us, but he's a sweet man. And I did keep it like a secret. Built to Spills, keep it like a secret. So basically, we break down the whole album, talk about our experience with it, track by track. It's a really cool show. I plugged this show on that show too, so we should just at least do that at the very least. And both of you. And I told him, Travis was always one of the most influential music people I ever knew. He was always the guy who knew everything before everybody else. So hopefully you'll eventually get that invite, and I'd like to see what you would pick. So either way, You, Me, and an Album by El Melchior. Really good stuff. He went to the University of Michigan, so he's kind of local too. So if you need any more reasons, I'm just trying to give you as many reasons as possible.
Honestly, everybody just follow MJ Govier at Twitter so you can be involved in his many different podcasts and guest hosts that he does. He's got a whole thing going on. You guys, I mean, if you're a fan of us on the show, you must like Mike too. So be aware that he does many other things. He wears a lot of hats.
Yay!
All right. Anything else to add? Anybody else? For real this time. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We are going to end the broadcast right now.
Bye.
Goodbye.